Hey guys, what's up? Thanks again for checking in on another episode today of Guitar Talk with Todd. Make sure you like and subscribe, comment, all the good stuff we always love here at the channel. Today's a quick guitar lesson. We're going to do one about power chords. A lot of you already know these, of course, but for those of you that don't, let's kind of get into it a little bit here and analyze things. Okay, so the technical term for a power chord is a fifth, or I should say the musical term. I remember when I first started doing these and I kind of first learned them, every once in a while in a book or something right here, somebody else say, you know, fifths, you're playing fifths. And at the time, I knew nothing. So, I mean, I remember thinking, why do they call it that? Like, is it because, you know, it's played off of the fifth string, or what does that mean? So the reason it's called that, again, remember in music theory, everything comes back to the mothership, which is the major scale. So I always like to use A for a lot of references, so let's talk about that one today. So the A major scale is this. And then we hit the octave, and we'll just go back. Okay, so if we look at the root note, or the very first note in that scale, in this case we have A. Now let's go to the fifth note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's an E. Okay, so if I take that note and the root note that we started with up here, number 1, A, we have the root and the fifth. But most people wouldn't play it this way. With this finger combination, you would use the first and the third. And that's why it's called a fifth, because you're not really referencing the root. You are, of course, but we're referencing the fifth that we're adding there. So that's why power chords are called fifths, because they use the root and the fifth. The trick with those, you're just going to play those two notes. I'm going to get a little bit closer here so you can see better. So in this case, I'm on the top string, 5th fret with my first finger, and I'm on the 7th fret of the 5th string with my 3rd finger. And when you strum them, you don't want to hear like a separation. You want to hear like... So you want to hit like both of those at the same time, no separation. Okay, so the reason it's called a power chord, as the slang term kind of developed through the years, is, I mean, you could just hear that. It's got a very hard-hitting sound to it. When you turn distortion on, of course, it lights it up even more. What I do when I teach these to my students is I always, just for reference sake, I call the ones where you're working off the root note on the top string, which is what we just did. I call those regular power chords. And now you probably just saw in the little thing I was playing a minute ago, you can also drop that shape down. And now my first finger's on the 5th string and my 3rd finger would be on the 4th. I always call that shape inverted. So this would be regular shape. This would be an inverted shape. And you can move them both. Those terms are something I just use as a quick reference. Those aren't proper terms. Those aren't used in the music world. If you said to somebody, I'm playing an inverted power chord, they might be like, what the heck is that? I just use those for a reference. So, you know, if you want to refer to them as a 5th string root, which would be what I call the inverted, or a 6th string root, which is what I call the regular, you know, whatever, however you got to remember it, that's just what I use as a quick reference. But again, both of those shapes are movable. So the 6th string root, or what I call the regular one, you can go up and down the neck. And the same thing with the 5th string root, or what I call the inverted shape. The inverted shape with the 5th string root, the thing that makes it a little bit harder is you can't hit this top string. So, you know, when you're strumming, it's kind of hard to avoid that top string and just hit only the 5th. I mean, maybe sitting here like this, you're hitting the 5th and the 4th. It might be easy sitting here like this, doing that live, or if you're really playing something where you're getting into it, it's kind of a little bit hard to just only... So you start to develop a way to mute out the top string. And what I do, I'm going to get real close here, is I do that, where I'm not touching, or I am touching, but I'm not pressing down, rather, the top string. I'm touching the underneath of it with the tip of my first finger. So I'm touching the underneath of the top string with my first finger, not pressing it, just touching it. And by doing that, it like mutes out that top string. I'm getting a little bit of a harmonic there, but what happens then when I come down strumming, I can come right over the top string, but it's not giving off a tone because I'm muting it here by touching the underneath of it. If I didn't do that, you would hear like, I mean, that top string is just clashing with everything, so we don't want that. Again, when you go to the regular shape, you don't have to worry about that, but the inverted, I kind of always drop down and I can sort of feel the tip of my finger touching the underneath there to just kind of mute it out. The other thing to kind of remember with those, you always want to leave 1 fret in between the 1st and the 3rd finger. You know, you don't want to start moving that and lose that and get like something like that going. You always want that space between the 1st and the 3rd finger. But again, it's real important to know those root notes, top string and 5th string, because that's telling you the name of the chord. So going back to calling these 5ths, like we talked about in the beginning of this lesson, which is the proper term, that would be like right here, we were doing an A, so we would call that an A5, you know, an A5th, an A5 power chord, whatever you want to call it, an A power chord or an A5. But we know that because we're holding an A on the top. If I go down here, that's a G at the 3rd fret, so I'm going to do the same shape. That would now be called a G5. The inverted, or, you know, with root notes off of the 5th string, that's a C at the 3rd fret. So if I did the same shape there, that's a C5. 5th fret is a D, so that's a D5. 7th fret is an E, so that's an E5. Okay, so those are awesome. There's so many things you can play with those. I'll, you know, give you a couple examples here that we all know. You know, Iron Man. You know, even just older stuff. One of the things I always tell people to start out with is do like a 5 regular on the top, you know, 6-string root note, power chord, strum that twice, strum inverted 5th string root note 3 times right underneath it, move that towards you, do the 7th string root on the, 7th fret root on the 5th string 2 times, and then back to the 5th fret root 3 times. So you've got this top one twice, inverted 5th fret, 5th string root 3 times, 7th fret twice, back to the 5th fret inverted 3 times. So we're always going to hit this one 3 times. When you put that together, you get... So that's Wild Thing. Okay, so quick lesson there, you guys. Hopefully that's helpful. Again, comment below if you got any questions. I'll definitely get back to you. One other thing I want to say about all these lessons, support your local guitar teachers. I'm one. Whether you're doing that through Zoom these days. I know I have a lot of Zoom students. I have a lot of in-person students as well. But definitely support. I'm all about the in-person or local guitar teachers. I mean, all these YouTube lessons are great. Obviously, I'm doing them, but you know, take it further. Go. There's nothing, you can't beat the old method of somebody that's just one-on-one working with you. Hey, I can't quite get this power chord to ring out. Okay, well, try this, try that. You know, you don't get that through YouTube. I'm not talking to everybody one-on-one. I can answer questions. You know, anything you find on YouTube, it's that way. So you can't beat finding a teacher where you're just working one-on-one. So definitely, you know, get that, find that, support that. I'm all about supporting your local guitar teachers. So I definitely want to put that out there. But thanks again for checking in, you guys. Like and subscribe to the page. Comment if you do have questions. Like I said, I will definitely get back to you. Thanks for checking in. Stay safe and love your dogs, and we'll see you guys again. Take care.